Hey everyone. First time posting here, but I really need some perspective. I'm 42, been working as an electrician for 20 years, and I thought I finally found the one. Her name's Natalie. We've been together for about 8 months now. When we first met at my buddy's barbecue, she was incredible. Like, the kind of woman who lights up a room just by walking in. She had this energy that was infectious, always laughing, always making everyone around her feel special. I hadn't felt that spark in years, not since my divorce 5 years ago. The first few months were like a damn fairy tale. She'd show up at my job site with lunch, tell me how proud she was of my work, how I was her strong, capable man. She made me feel like I could conquer the world. I was head over heels, thinking I'd finally gotten lucky after all the crap relationships I'd been through. But then things started changing. Slowly at first, so I didn't really notice. She began asking more questions about where I was going, who I was with, what I was spending money on. At first, I thought it was sweet, like she cared about being involved in my life. I was wrong. Last month, she asked me to start sending her receipts for everything I bought. Just so we can plan our future together better, she said. When I hesitated, she got this look in her eyes I'd never seen before. Cold, like I was being unreasonable for wanting privacy about my own damn money. Then came the gift demands. Started small. She'd see something in a store window and make comments about how a real man would want to spoil his woman. When I didn't immediately offer to buy it, the comments got sharper. Last week, I refused to buy her a $400 purse she'd been hinting about for days. She called me a cheap loser, right there in the middle of the mall. I'm starting to feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time. The woman I fell in love with is still there sometimes, but more and more often, it's this other person who seems to think I exist just to make her happy. My friends have started making comments too. Nothing direct, but I can tell they've noticed the change in how she talks to me. I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting? She says she just has high standards and wants us to have nice things. Part of me wonders if this is what a real relationship looks like after the honeymoon phase. But something in my gut keeps telling me this isn't right. Has anyone else experienced this? Does it get better? Or should I be worried about where this is heading? Jesus Christ, you guys were right. I posted here a few weeks ago about my girlfriend Natalie becoming more controlling, and I should have listened to your advice then. Things have escalated in ways I never saw coming. The expense report thing is now mandatory. She's created an actual spreadsheet that I have to fill out every single day. Where I went, what I bought, who I was with, how much I spent. If I forget to update it, or if there's money unaccounted for, she goes ballistic. Last Tuesday, I grabbed a coffee and a breakfast sandwich on my way to a job and forgot to write it down. She noticed the $8 discrepancy in my account and accused me of lying about where I was. We fought for 3 hours. But that's not even the worst part. She started showing up at my job sites to surprise me with lunch. Sounds sweet, right? Except she's really checking up on me. She'll ask my coworkers questions about what time I arrived, if I left for breaks, whether any women were around. My foreman Mike pulled me aside last week and asked if everything was okay at home because she was making everyone uncomfortable. The gift demands have turned into outright manipulation. She'll find expensive things online and send me links with messages like, "This would look so good on me," or "I've been such a good girlfriend lately." When I don't immediately offer to buy them, the punishment starts. Silent treatment, sleeping on the couch, telling me I don't love her if I can't prove it with gifts. I bought her a $200 necklace for her birthday, thinking it would make her happy. She looked at it for maybe 2 seconds before saying, "Oh, this is nice, I guess." Sarah's boyfriend got her that tennis bracelet from Tiffany's, but this is fine too. I felt like such a piece of shit. The throwing thing started 2 weeks ago. We were arguing about me wanting to have a beer with my brother after work instead of coming straight home. She was yelling about how I always prioritize everyone else over her. And when I tried to explain that I see my brother maybe once a month, she grabbed her coffee mug and hurled it at the wall next to my head. The ceramic shattered everywhere. Afterwards, she cried and apologized, said she was just so scared of losing me that she wasn't thinking straight. Made me promise not to tell anyone what happened because she was embarrassed. Like an idiot, I believed her and cleaned up the mess. But it happened again 3 days ago. This time it was her phone. Threw it right at me when I said I couldn't take off work to drive her to some appointment. Missed my face by maybe 6 inches and cracked the screen when it hit the kitchen cabinet. Again with the tears and apologies. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind. One minute, she's the woman I fell in love with, sweet, affectionate, making me laugh. The next minute, she's this person I don't even recognize, screaming at me like I'm her personal servant who's not performing well enough. My sleep is shit. I've lost weight because my stomach is constantly in knots. I catch myself rehearsing conversations in my head, trying to figure out how to bring up normal topics without setting her off. This can't be normal, right? The crazy part is she keeps talking about our future together, marriage, kids, buying a house. But how can I plan a future with someone who makes me feel like I'm constantly failing at being human? I know what you're all going to say, and you're probably right. But leaving feels impossible right now. She's convinced me that no one else would put up with my issues, and honestly, some days I believe her. I can't believe I'm writing this, but I need to get it out somewhere before I lose my nerve. What happened yesterday at my job site was the final straw, and I'm still processing how humiliated and angry I feel. For context, we're doing electrical work on a new office building downtown. It's a big contract, lots of my regular crew plus some guys I've worked with for years. These aren't strangers, they're men I respect, who respect me, and who've seen me handle tough situations with professionalism for over 2 decades. Natalie knows I usually eat lunch with the crew at 12:30. Yesterday, she showed up at 12:45 with a bag from some expensive sandwich place, acting like she was being thoughtful. But I could tell immediately something was off. She had that look in her eyes, the one that means she's spoiling for a fight. She walked right into the middle of where we were all sitting, didn't even acknowledge my coworkers, and started in on me immediately. Apparently, I hadn't responded to her text from that morning fast enough. The text was asking me to call the cable company about our internet at her place, something that could have waited until after work. I guess your job is more important than helping me with basic household stuff, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. I tried to laugh it off, said we could talk about it later, but she wasn't having it. Later? It's always later with you, isn't it? You can't even take 5 minutes to help your girlfriend because you're too busy playing with your little work buddies. The contempt in her voice when she said work buddies made my blood boil, but I kept my mouth shut, hoping she'd just leave. Then she really went for the throat. Started listing off all the ways I'd failed her that week. How I'd chosen to watch the game Sunday instead of going furniture shopping with her. How I'd only gotten her flowers once this month. How I clearly didn't appreciate everything she did for me. The guys were trying not to look, but there was nowhere to go. We were in the break area, and she was getting louder and more vicious by the second. Mike, my foreman, actually started packing up his lunch to leave because it was so uncomfortable. But the worst part, the part that's been eating at me for 24 hours, was when she said, maybe if you actually made decent money instead of playing around with wires all day, you could afford to treat me the way I deserve. Dead silence. These men know what I do for a living. They know the skill it takes, the responsibility, the pride we take in our work. They know I make good money, enough to support myself and help my ex-wife with our kids' college expenses. I felt something break inside me in that moment. Not just embarrassment, actual rage. This woman, who I'd supported and cared for and tried so hard to make happy, just disrespected everything I am in front of people whose opinions matter to me. I stood up, looked her in the eye, and said, "Get out. Now." My voice was so quiet I barely recognized it myself. She tried to backtrack immediately. "Baby, I didn't mean dash get out. Now." She left, but not before making sure everyone knew this was somehow my fault. Fine, but we're talking about this tonight. I hope you're happy with yourself. The guys didn't say anything directly, but I could see it in their faces. Pity. These men who've always treated me as an equal were looking at me like a beaten dog. Mike came over after she left and just squeezed my shoulder. "You okay, brother?" I wasn't okay. I'm still not okay. But something shifted in me yesterday. For the first time in months, I saw the situation clearly. This isn't love. Love doesn't humiliate you in front of your peers. Love doesn't tear down your career and your self-respect to make itself feel better. I've been making excuses for her behavior for so long now. I forgot what it felt like to be treated with basic human dignity. Seeing the looks on my coworkers' faces, men who've never seen me take shit from anyone, made me realize how far I've fallen. I didn't go home last night. Told her I had to work late and stayed at my buddy Dave's place instead. I need to figure out my next move, but for the first time in months, I actually feel like I have some power back. Holy shit, guys. I actually did it. I'm sitting in my new apartment right now, and I can barely believe I found the courage to leave. But let me back up and tell you how everything went down. After that disaster at my job site, I knew I couldn't keep living like this. But knowing and doing are two different things, right? I've been trapped in this cycle for so long that even when I could see how toxic it was, I couldn't figure out how to get out. The push I needed came from an unexpected place. Dave, the buddy whose couch I crashed on, sat me down the morning after and said something that hit me like a freight train. Travis, man, I've known you for 15 years. You used to be the guy who wouldn't take shit from anyone. Not a difficult customer, not a demanding boss, nobody. What happened to that guy? He was right. I used to have a backbone. I used to stand up for myself. Somehow, Natalie had managed to convince me that my boundaries were unreasonable, that my needs didn't matter, that I was lucky she tolerated me at all. So I started making a plan. Quietly. I knew if she got even a hint that I was thinking about leaving, she'd either escalate the abuse or love bomb me back into submission. I'd seen both tactics before. I found a one-bedroom apartment across town, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Put down the deposit with money from an account she didn't know about. Thank God I kept one thing to myself. Started moving my important stuff out in small amounts over the course of a week. A few clothes here, some tools there, important documents. Stuff she wouldn't notice missing right away. Yesterday was the day. She had a spa appointment with her friends, one of those all-day things she loves to post about on social media. I called in a favor with some of the guys from work, and we cleared out everything that mattered to me in about 3 hours. I left the furniture, the dishes, all the stuff we bought together. I just wanted my clothes, my tools, my personal things, and my freedom. Mike helped me load my truck and didn't ask a single question, just showed up when I called and worked his ass off to help me escape. The hardest part was writing the note. What do you say to someone who made your life hell for 8 months, but who you genuinely cared about? I kept it simple. Natalie, I've moved out. This relationship isn't healthy for either of us, and I can't continue living this way. I wish you the best, but please don't contact me. Travis. I left it on the kitchen counter next to my key and the expensive necklace I'd bought for her birthday. Seemed appropriate somehow. I was unpacking boxes in my new place when she started calling. First call was confused, almost innocent. Baby, where are you? Your truck's not here, and some of your stuff looks missing. By the 10th call, the mask had come off completely. The voicemails went from confused to angry to desperate to vicious, and back to desperate. She was hitting every manipulation tactic in the book. How much she loved me, how sorry she was, how she'd change, how I was making the biggest mistake of my life, how no one would ever love me like she did. Around 9 p.m., she showed up at my new place. I have no idea how she found the address. Probably drove around looking for my truck. She was crying, makeup running down her face, begging me to just talk to her. Please, Travis, just give me 5 minutes. I know I've made mistakes, but we can fix this. I love you so much. You're everything to me. For a second, just a second, I almost opened that door. 8 months of conditioning doesn't disappear overnight. But then I remembered how she'd made me feel in front of my coworkers, how she'd thrown things at my head, how she'd made me account for every dollar like I was a child who couldn't be trusted. I spoke through the door. You ruined everything that could have been good. That's all I said. She stood there for maybe 10 more minutes, alternating between crying and pounding on the door, but I didn't say another word. Eventually, she left. I slept better last night than I have in months. No walking on eggshells, no worrying about what mood she'd be in, no rehearsing conversations in my head. Just peace. This morning I woke up and made coffee without having to text anyone about what I was doing or when I'd be ready to start my day. I cannot tell you how incredible that simple freedom feels. I know this isn't over. She'll probably try other tactics to get me back. But for the first time in almost a year, I feel like myself again. I feel like that guy Dave was talking about. The one who doesn't take shit from anyone. Hey everyone. I know it's been a while since my last update, but I wanted to circle back and let you know how everything turned out. Your support during the darkest period of my life meant more than you'll ever know. It's been 3 months since I left Natalie, and I can honestly say I'm a completely different person now. The fog has lifted, and I can see clearly for the first time in over a year. The first month was rough, not gonna lie. Natalie didn't give up easily. She tried everything, showing up at my job site with tears and apologies, sending me long texts about how she was going to therapy and changing, having mutual friends reach out to tell me how devastated she was. The hardest moment came about 2 weeks after I left. She somehow got hold of photos from when we first started dating. Pictures of us laughing, looking happy. All those moments from the honeymoon phase when I thought I'd found my soulmate. She sent them to me with a message about how good we used to be together and how we could get back to that. For about an hour, I actually considered it. That's how powerful the conditioning was. Even knowing everything she'd put me through, part of me was ready to believe that maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe I should give her another chance. But then I called Dave. He came over, took one look at me, and said, "Brother, you're thinking about going back, aren't you?" When I nodded, he pulled out his phone and showed me a voice recording he'd made the night I crashed at his place after the worksite incident. It was me, crying and talking about how broken I felt, how I didn't recognize myself anymore. "Listen to that guy," he said. "That's who you were with her. Look at who you are now." He was right. In just 2 weeks of freedom, I was already sleeping better, laughing more, feeling like myself again. I blocked her number that night and haven't looked back since. Work has been amazing. The guys treat me with the same respect they always did, but I can tell they've noticed the change in my energy. Mike mentioned last week that it's good to have the old Travis back. I'm taking pride in my career again, remembering why I love what I do. But here's the really incredible part. I'm dating someone new, and it's showing me just how screwed up my relationship with Natalie really was. Her name is Sarah, and we went to high school together. We reconnected on Facebook a couple months ago when she moved back to town after her divorce. We started chatting, then met for coffee, and it's been, God, I don't even know how to describe it. Normal? Healthy? Everything a relationship should be. The difference is night and day. Sarah has never once asked me for receipts or questioned where I've been. When I take her out to dinner, she's genuinely grateful, not calculating whether the restaurant was expensive enough. She's never thrown anything at me or called me names during an argument. Most importantly, she makes me feel valued for who I am, not what I can do for her. Last weekend, she came to watch me play in our company's softball league. Afterwards, she told the guys how impressed she was with my batting average. No agenda, no manipulation, just a woman who was proud to be with me. The sex is incredible too, and I'm not just talking about the physical part. With Natalie, intimacy always felt like a transaction, something I had to earn by good behavior or buy with expensive gifts. With Sarah, it's just natural. We want each other, we enjoy each other, and there's no scorekeeping involved. I'm not saying this new relationship is perfect or that we're riding off into the sunset together. We're taking things slow, both of us having been burned before. But for the first time in years, I'm experiencing what it's like to be with someone who actually likes me as a person. It's made me realize that I'd completely forgotten what healthy love feels like. Real love doesn't demand expense reports. It doesn't humiliate you in public. It doesn't make you walk on eggshells or question your own worth every single day. Real love feels safe. It feels peaceful. It feels like coming home. To anyone reading this who's in a situation like I was, please know that there's another side to this. I know it feels impossible to leave. I know they've convinced you that this is what you deserve, or that no one else will want you. But it's not true. You deserve to be with someone who celebrates your successes instead of tearing you down. You deserve to keep your dignity and your friendships and your sense of self. You deserve peace. It takes courage to walk away, but I promise you, I absolutely promise you, that the person waiting for you on the other side is worth fighting for. That person is you, but the version of you that gets to exist without fear. 3 months out, dating someone healthy, and finally understanding what real love actually looks like. Life is good.